Okay, here we go again. I'm going to play a 10-minute chess game. Minimum rating 1200. Let's change that. Minimum opponent rating. Relative. Example minus 200 or exact example 1200. Okay. Minus 200 or exact. Okay, cool. So let's just go with this anyway. So a 10-minute game. Let's see who I get. Yeah, I probably should start playing some people that are a bit higher rated. 1222 is a bit low. Hopefully I won't get pwned though. We'll see. Okay, Roy Lopez is black. I know what to play now. I've been playing this a bit. Can't I just not quite take that? If I take it with a pawn, take it with a knight. Play check. No, check's no good. So taking it with a knight, and then knight takes, and then pawn takes, then queen takes pawn. And then I've got c6. Where does the bishop go? Just goes back. I don't know. Or should I play a6? a6. What is that? d5. Takes. I don't know. I think I'll just take that center pawn and see what happens. So knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and c6. Is there anything better than c6 after queen takes? Queen takes and c6. What else? I can just go for queen e7. Queen e7 threatens to get the queens off, win a pawn. There's c6. There's also c6 seems interesting. This kicks the bishop back. Bishop might go. Well, queen e7 does attack e4. But hold on. That's okay. I'll just take. Surely, just take. For check, I can recapture, no problem. Although I've got to be careful of potential pins with this knight. I'm also attacking the bishop, so a pin is not really a concern at the moment. F3 is not possible yet because I take the bishop. So where's the bishop go? It just goes back. It's hitting. Oh, that's a reasonable move. Isn't there bishop d6 though? Bishop d6 seems to solve the problem. Castle's kingside, and then I think, yeah, not doing too bad. I've got tempos on these pieces. Up a pawn out of the opening, and he's a premium member too, as you can see here. Take a look at his crown here. So Israel. Alright, I think just castling is natural. Reposition my knight so I can get my bishop out. Although this bishop is in a very good spot. Maybe just play this to get my bishop out like this. Bishop b7. Seems good. Now my rooks are talking to each other, which is always a good thing. Might want to occupy the e-file with my rooks. If he does so, I might just contest it because I'm up a pawn. When you're up when you're up material, it's always best to trade down pieces. So, do I want to contest that E file? If I do, then and he takes, then I get the E file. So I think I will. I'll contest the E file. If he takes, it's good for me. So the only way that he can re-contest it is to maybe play something like King F1, and then play Rook A to E1. So this is looking good. His light bishop is in a very good spot. It's at the moment preventing my knight from moving anywhere, which is kind of annoying. Okay, surely this is good for me. Maybe King F8, I can centralize my king a little bit. We're in an endgame phase, basically. So now, so is white's back rank a little bit weak? Not at the moment because of the bishop, and also, he's lashing out with a H pawn. Interesting. So what do I do about this really annoying bishop? I'm up a pawn, but it's not so simple. I gotta get central control back. So how about here's King F8 first. He's going to go for a pawn storm. I gotta reroute my knight. I think put it on F7. Maybe F7 to E5 looks good. And that's a good point. Okay, so he's taken back his pawn. That's annoying. He's going to shut down my counterplay, isn't he? Material is even again. He's got a 2 to 3. He's got a 3 to 2 majority on the king side, but I've got a 4 to 3 majority on the queen side. And he wants to pick off another pawn. He's attacking 2 more pawns. That's a very good move. Although I can... no, I can't actually. Good move. How do I deal with this? Counterattack? Go for his pass pawns. Attack his bishop and his pawn at the same time. Okay, so he can defend both though with bishop to F5, but then I can play G6 and I can get a pawn. That knight is in a very good spot. It's attacking 2 of my pawns. This is a bit annoying. So time's about even again, so that's good. Yeah, okay, bishop F5. So G6 and then bishop where? I think I've got to play G6 anyway. So bishop goes to D3. That's the only spot for the bishop I can actually take. That bishop, his pawns will be weak, isolated. But he will then win pawn back. It's tricky. The only place his bishop goes is D3. Do I really want to take though on D3? He'll have weak pawns everywhere. It's actually quite tempting. Or do I want to take, takes, and then play bishop A6, attacking the knight and the pawn behind it? If he captures a pawn, I capture that pawn. I'm going to get my rook onto the 7th. It's a bit unclear actually. I don't think I want to just take that. Or maybe I should just take that G pawn because it could become quite menacing very quickly. Although rook h7 is always an option. Alright, I'll take here. And I'll play rook h7 now, I think. If he really wants to take, then I've got rook takes h4 with some nasty counter play on his king. So he can take either on c7 or a7, but it may not be the best idea. And in fact, I don't really see how he's going to maintain these pawns. In fact, he can't maintain them. If h5 I simply capture with the g pawn, then if he recaptures I take, so I'm up a pawn again. If he captures on c7 or a7 I take on h4, and then I'm threatening to play actually rook h1 mate. So this is a bit awkward. The position's very interesting. It's very unique, kind of. He's got an isolated d pawn, which I can target. His rook is not very active. Mine's more active. He's got a 3-2 pawn majority on the king side. Okay, this is what I was talking about. So now I can just take here, and if he recaptures, I take on h5. If he captures on a7 or c7, I'll take on g4, and I'll be threatening rook h1 mate. I believe for white to really have much counterplay in this game, he probably needs to get his rook involved. I'll just take that. He can grab a pawn. Or do I want to simply play rook g7? Rook g7 might be good. Rook g7 looks good. That pawn's pinned. And I'll accept the isolated pawns, 2 isolated pawns. Okay, he goes for it, so I'll go for this. Capturing. And king h1 is probably awful for white. King h1 I'm sure is very bad. Okay, he doesn't play it. It's probably wise. So now I've got a passed pawn on the h file. I've got bishop g2 check, doesn't do anything. In fact, can't I just play rook c5 and the knight is trapped? Let's see, can't go to e6, can't go to d5, can't go to b5, can't go to a6, can't go to a8, and can't go to e8. Looks good. So the knight's trapped now. So I'm going to be up a piece at the end of this. I don't see a defense for this. d4, I just take the knight, and same thing for b4. What else? If he moves the knight anyway, I just take it. Seems like he's losing his knight here. His knight's trapped. That's quite good. So, this is a bit of a downer for my opponent. Okay, so what is his best play here though? What's his best move with this knight? Does he even move the knight? If he doesn't move the knight, my rook's on the open c file, but it's, it'll be on c7, which means it can't move over like this. It can only move up the file. So my opponent is definitely losing a knight. Having a good think about it. I wonder if he'll just resign. So I'm actually once again a pawn up, although my pawns are very, very bad. Interesting. So now I'm 2 pawns up and a piece up. He's not serious, is he? He wants to regain a pawn. How do I want to approach this? Take he takes is on h5. It's not necessary. Oh, we have multiple isolated pawns. Just play b5. Isn't b5 just fine? b5's fine. I don't see anything wrong with b5. If a6, just move the bishop. No big deal. Just move it. Where's a good spot for it? I don't know, not really threatening anything. Let's move it back, maintain pressure on this pawn. So I've got 3 isolated pawns. He's got 2 isolated pawns. I'm up a piece. He's got a very far advanced pawn on a6, although I've got a passed pawn on h5 and a passed pawn on b5. Let's push this. Gives up his rook. Alright, good game. So let's take a look at this. It was a Roy Lopez as black, knight f6 I think is the correct move, and an instant d4. I'm pretty sure this is not that good yet. I play d4 after black plays d6, because that threatens to play d5 next. But I took here, I think this is okay. He recaptures material is even. Here I'm just simply thinking of queen takes e4 check to pick up a pawn and to get the queens off. So he allows me to do that with tempo on his bishop, which has to retreat. And he's attacking c7, so I defend with tempo on that bishop, castles, castles. Develop this bishop, because this bishop here is in a really good spot, going down here and down here, so it's cutting my knight from going to here, 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 or here. It's a really good place to have to place the bishop there. It's a really good spot when you have a knight on the board. So bishop b7, rook. I can test the e-file. I figure this is good for me, and this is definitely good for me. H-pawn attack. So I'm not really concerned about this H-pawn attack. I did give back that pawn, which was a blunder, I think. But what happened here? Yes, attack the bishop and the pawn, and then isolated pawn, and then I go after this pawn, pin that pawn, capture that pawn, and now his knight's trapped, and this is pretty much game over. It's just technique from here, as they say, and there he just completely lost the rook. Probably thought that his pawn was protecting his rook, but his pawn's more advanced than his rook, so it's not, of course. Anyway, that's the end of the game. So now my rating is 1370. It's quite high now. It's quite good. So thanks for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you in the next one. See ya.